I want to welcome everybody on this workshop. It's called The Leader of the Future. This is season 1 and episode 1. We are at Sharon Hotel as we promised earlier, and we're in the conference room. This lecture is going to be for 1 hour, majorly on what do we mean by the leader of the future. So majorly, this means that many other sessions will be coming in as will be scheduled, and the response of people. It's the response of people and that will show us whether we need to do others or not. However, despite the response or not, we will still do other meetings and the leader of the future, since we are recording. Probably the generation that will come after us will know that we wanted them to know something that we knew, so that they use it as a stepping stone to derive into their own problems that will meet them at that time of their dwelling. Now, the leader of the future, this is May Global Incorporation. It's an organization that deals in majorly 4 things. We do a lot of things, but majorly we categorize them in 4. Number 1, leadership. Number 2, management. Number 3, effective communication and personal development. Everything that lies into those 4 issues is what we deal in. Majorly leadership, public speaking / effective communication, personal development and management. We do believe that the future is going to be derived by people who majorly are well versed with leadership principles. Any man who is not well versed with leadership principles might not survive the coming days. Therefore, the leader of the future is entitled majorly to educate men into the calibrations of the future, in understanding how leadership in the future is going to be, and in understanding how public speaking and effective communication is going to be. So majorly we call it the leader of the future, but we are not preparing leaders to be relevant in the future. No, we are preparing leaders just right now, so that when the future comes, they are ready. That's the first part. The second part is that they are the leaders of the future. So they are creating the future themselves. They are not only waiting for the future to come, that's part of it, but they are creating the future. So as May Global Incorporation, we teach, we train, we strengthen, we inspire. We teach, we train, we strengthen, we inspire. So whatever you're going to hear in this lecture, we will be a teaching, some we will be a strengthening, some we will be a training, and some others will be an inspiration to the leaders. So that's what we can talk about May Global Incorporation and this workshop that we will be coming in frequently, called The Leader of the Future. This is season 1 and episode 1. After that introduction, let us dive into the lecture, because we have only 1 hour. Now, the topic is the 4 cardinal laws you must exhibit for relevance in future leadership. I've already explained to you that we are calling it the leader of the future, but we are not really dealing with the future. We are dealing with the leaders that are going to be important for the future. 1. 2, they are creating that future for the generation to come. So, the 4 cardinal laws that you must exhibit to be relevant for future leadership. I have no doubt that you're going to be there. That's ultimately true. However, the question is, will you be relevant? So the entire query of this teaching, the leader of the future, is to enlighten your mind on how you are going to be either part of those that are creating the future, or those that are waiting for it after those that are creating it have already created it. So what we are doing exactly is that we want to show you a few things that will make you relevant. We do not doubt that you will be there. We know you're going to be in that future. The question is, are you going to be relevant. Think about that. Are you going to be relevant wherever you are? In church, in organizations, in parachurch organizations, your mission is in schools, universities, medical schools, faculties of law, universities and other institutions of learning. Are you going to be relevant? Now, 4 cardinal laws that you must exhibit to make you relevant in future leadership. Number 1, or before we do that, let's define a law. What is a law? Especially from a science perspective. When you define it from an art perspective, you may get a different definition from one we are focusing in. But if you define it from a science perspective, it might take a different understanding altogether. In the science perspective, when we define a law, it is something which is almost always constant. Something which is almost always constant. Depending on the arrangement of words, that will depend on your English teacher. Something which is almost always constant. That's the law. Every time you define a law from a science perspective, we are defining a principle which is almost always constant. Now, if we say the 4 cardinal laws that will make you relevant in future leadership, we simply mean some of those principles that are almost always constant in the life of a leader, and especially if you're going to be relevant in the days to come. As ever the world is, as corrupt as nations of the world is, it's not only African nations. You know, some people when they speak, they make you feel that it's only African nations that are corrupt. Every nation is corrupt. Every nation is corrupt. However, they are remnants. Always. Doesn't matter how corrupt a generation can be, there is always remnants. So what I'm teaching today, or what we are presenting to you, is to make you relevant in future leadership. Now, law number 1 is the law of integrity. Many people define integrity. Probably you've read many books. Everyone on this, those that are watching us, you've defined integrity in many ways. And we are not going to look at them and how you define them. But let us add our voice on those definitions you've had, those definitions you've read in books, and those definitions you've seen everywhere. The terrains you're walking. Let me give you a graphic example. In African culture, there are norms, taboos, and totems. Every culture. We have some that from different cultures, especially let's take Africa as a study case. We have some norms that are the same like the Nigerians. If you study the Igbo, if you study the Hausa people, if you study the tribes, the Kalenjins in Kenya, if you study the Baganda in Uganda, if you study the Itesots, if you study the Basoga, if you study the Banyankole, if you go to Tanzania, if you go to Rwanda, you study the Batwa and the other 2 bigger tribes. If you go to Congo, there are things we have in common, and there are those that really separate us. This is my point. There are those things that will shape you according to the culture where you come from. And those things will shape your conviction as a human being, as you walk along the way, as you accumulate your years. Your convictions, another language is philosophy. Your philosophies, your convictions will be shaped depending on those cultures, on those norms, on those totems, on those convictions, depending from where you came from. Let me shade it for you very well. No man in the right mind in African culture will believe that a man can marry a man. If you are in your right mind, it's not in our culture. It's not even to do with human rights. We don't debate that in our culture. But the deadness and the decadence of generations has dictated that there are some men among us who think that it's okay, it's normal. However, let us discuss it from the time where it wasn't. It is illegal, that's a judicial term, but it is not according to our culture that a man should marry a man. It's unthinkable. It's not something. In Buganda culture and in Busoga, there are even names for such abominations. That's why you hear words like Amawe Mukirano. Something which cannot be thought about. In your convictions as a person in the leadership to come, there are things that you must exhibit under the layer of convictions that will make you relevant if you're going to assume places of leadership in the near future. And right now I want you to get a pen and a paper, whether you're online or here, and start to write down those convictions. You'll have a minute to do that. That you know that I will not agree with this, this, and this. Or I must agree with this, and this, and this. They are called convictions. They are called philosophies. Those are things that shape your integrity. As a leader, as we are traversing this terrain, you will need integrity. You will need to be a person of integrity. You need to be a woman or a man of integrity. It's not something that you can develop in a day or a week or a month and you say, yay, I'm a man of integrity. No. It's something that will take you months and years to build. When you give your word, and many will know that if he has said like that, then it's true. I was discussing with my sister yesterday at home that there are people I listen to and I know that I don't need to read it. I just quote it the way it is because I trust their study and their brain. One of them, I think there's only one man in Uganda. Among those I listen to, I didn't say the only one man, no, but among those I listen to, the guy is called Dr. Sam Kaziwe. When he says something, I quote it, doesn't matter where I am. I quote it the way it is because I trust his years of study and I trust his analysis when he's making analysis on things. So when he says something, and I know that who said it, Dr. Sam Kaziwe, that must be true. Probably later I can study it, but I know he's a man of integrity when it comes in the field of academia, international relations, and political governance. He's an authority on that. So a time comes when you say something, someone will have to know that if he said it, it is true. It's called integrity. How to start on building how to start on the building of your integrity. Number one, building integrity is a lifelong process that requires self-reflection, self-discipline, and consistent effort. Lifelong process which requires self-reflection, self-discipline. Now, self-discipline is a wide topic that we cannot begin to look into right now. However, if I can give you a short definition of self-discipline, is making yourself real and cutting some things off you. I've written more than 10 episodes on the life of discipline. Over 10 episodes among those excerpts I write every day. I've written over 10 on self-discipline or on the life of discipline. I call it the art of discipline. Knowing what you must do, when you must do it, and how you must do it. When you say you'll wake up at 7 and you wake up at 7. When you say you're going to take a fast today as a health fast, not even as the religious fast, but a health fast, and you do it. It's called discipline. When you say that I will read this book and you read it. When you say that I watch this video and you watch it. Not because you want someday when you stand before people, you quote names and people say, wow, this guy is right. No, but for your own benefit. Taking your life to another level with an understanding that today I might not be a leader, but tomorrow I am going to be in a leadership position. And you cannot just say it and you do not do what goes by it. You must say it and also find ways to go by it. And that's the difference between wishes and expectations. A man who is expecting will do something to bring his expectation to pass. A man who is wishing will wish of being a great leader someday, will wish of leading organizations, will wish of sitting 100 people in a conference and teach them about leadership principles, but it will never happen, because the principles of Mother Earth do not work like that. The principles of nature work in a certain way, and one of the ways they work is by the way of expectation. How? You set an expectation and you line up some principles, you line up some disciplines, you line up some stuff that you must follow in order to bring those expectations to pass. A wishful thinker will think of one day having a big mansion, but he will not write down, how can I travel my way to the beautiful mansion? He's just a thinker. So probably he's just a motivated man who is not even aware how to go on the disciplines. Number 2, define your values, define your values, identity, and clarify your personal values. These are principles and beliefs that guide your behavior and decisions. They are principles and beliefs, but they come after defining your values, knowing your worth. These days I hear people say, you go somewhere and sit and discover yourself. That's true. But a man who has no identity will be crushed very easily. Why? Because he has no place of standing. He has no place of footing. He has no place of foundation. When the storm comes, you remember that story in the book of life of a man who saw the sun and he said, this must be a good place to put my house. He didn't know the season is changed. He was unaware of the seasons. The book of life says that what happened when the season changed, his house was no more. And the other man knew that season is changed, so he looked for a better place. Discipline, values, and convictions are like seasons, or they are like pillars that when season is changed, they stay. Any man who will be relevant in leadership, especially in the future, must have defined values. Consistent practices of discipline. Those who have not yet received the notes, you will receive them. Consistent practices of self-discipline. Acting with honesty and transparency. Taking responsibility for every decision you make. Now, this is one of the most important places for leaders. Every time you find yourself in a leadership position, you will have to make decisions, and rational decisions. Not merely decisions, but rational decisions, knowing that that organization will not stand if you make a wrong decision. Those who have taken my lectures on decision making, you are aware of the 3 categories of decisions: strategic decisions, temporary decisions, and those everyday decisions. Strategic decisions are decisions you make in an organization that if it's wrong, the entire family as an organization is down. That if it's wrong, the entire organization as a church is down. That if it's wrong, the entire organization, either a CBO, an NGO, whatever organization you're running, it will be down. It's called strategic. And then there are those everyday decisions that you must make. What am I going to wear? Which perfume should I wear today? Which coat should I do? Which shoes? And those small decisions, they are the one who create you to catapult you to other decisions. Those sisters of ours who spend 30 minutes in the wardrobe choosing what to put on. It's very difficult for such people to get into real leadership positions. The issue is simple, that you cannot spend 30 minutes in the wardrobe choosing for what you wear, and you think that you can make a decision that will take an organization of 1,000 people in another direction. You cannot. You're a time waster almost. So, a man or a person who can make a decision that will take in the entire organization in another direction, that person does not begin that day. That person began 7 years ago or 10 years ago, making small decisions at a time. Making small decisions at a time. Making small decisions at a time. And those are decisions that led them to that place where they stand up and make a decision where 100 people that is leading the organization with will be against, but he knows it's the truth. Okay. Let's go to number 2. The law of cause and results. Those who have no notes, you will receive the notes. So I'm jumping some other stuff because of the time. We began late from where we had planned to begin. So, the law of cause and results. Focusing on both the cause and the results. A leader in the coming generation, you will need to focus on both the cause and the results. 2 things are going to happen, and I outline them here. If you focus only on the cause, you are going to run through the process. If you focus on the results are achievement. The cause is the process, the result is the achievement. 2 things are going to happen. If you focus only on the cause, you will have the organization stay, but you may not have the desired results. If you focus only on the results, you will hurt the people you're working with. That's what managers do. Actually, the right translation in Uganda of the word managers is bafuzi. African countries have bafuzi, have no leaders. They are not bakulembeze. They are bafuzi. It's like someone asking, what best can we get from the question many managers ask, how best can I get out of my team? As if it's a bunch of mindless minions to direct what to do and what not to do, what to choose and what not to choose. So the law of cause and results. Any leader in the coming generation will have to focus on the cause and on the result. And every organization moves on those 2 things. And now when I say organization, I don't want you to isolate your church. I don't want you to isolate your para-church organization. Neither do I want you to isolate your school. The school is an organization. The hospital you're owning is an organization. Whatever you have is an organization. Those that are still ideas and those that have probably put on a body and you can see them. So, focusing on the cause will make you sustain for the future. Focusing on result will bring the desired results. So as a leader, you must focus on both results and the cause. Tova kumugendo. You must keep on walking. Let me read something here. Staying on the course in leadership and achieving results requires a combination of focus, discipline, and adaptability. And it all begins with setting clear direction, defining objectives, and communicating thoroughly with the team. You're on course. What are they saying? Are they okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm not seeing any complaint here, so it seems they are okay. As a leader of an organization, number 1, you must know the course you are going to take. It's called navigation. The Grand Master, John Maxwell, calls it the law of navigation in the 21 irrefutable laws on leadership. Those who have joined the leadership course, I don't think there is anyone that has reached class number 10. Class number 9, I think. Class number 9 is where we have learn from the Grand Master. We take a study in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And one of the laws there is the law of navigation, where you must know the course you're taking. You anticipate the hurdles. You cannot be a leader who doesn't know the hurdles that are going to come. Any man who is taking up a place of leadership where you're leading people, there are things you must expect. Yesterday we were talking to one of the fathers of this nation, Uganda, in the field of faith, Professor Simeon. And in the question, one of the questions that we asked him is, what are some of the problems you faced? And he said that they are not really problems, they were challenges that I met along the way. He said that I was young and I made these mistakes, and he said that they were necessary. Any man who is in a leadership position, there are mistakes you're going to commit along your course. It doesn't matter how true you are. You see, challenges don't respect your truth. Challenges will not respect your integrity. As much as it's important, they are going to come to establish your character, to establish your brevity, to establish your gravity around the issues you speak about. And many things are going to come. If they have come, that's just jaribu. Jaribu is a Kiswahili word which means it's just a test. You're just feeling how tasty or sour, how sweet or sour the thing is. But they are going to come. So if you are assuming in the place of leadership, what I'm speaking here is just foundation. Just you hearing me mentioning on a foundation stuff. So those of you that have attended my other lectures, don't say, but he has taught you those things. No, this is a foundational lecture. That's why it is season 1, episode 1. So they are going to come. You are going to be a man of integrity, and things will come. And you must anticipate and how to handle them. You must rehearse your mind. What am I going to handle? How am I going to handle this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to go through with this? You plan to do churches and organizations which are perhaps set on churches, which we call para-church organizations. There are many who will expect that they are going to stand with you and they will not. It's called leadership. And you must stand. There are two things that are similar: leadership and parenting. And those who have attended my lectures on parenting, you know already. I've taught that thoroughly over 67 episodes, I think, on parenting concepts. It is easier to be an uncle. It is very easy to be an auntie. You see, if I'm an uncle, or my younger brother has a child, me I don't have my biological ones. My younger brother has a child. So when he calls me that Jerusha is sick, I'll just say, Jerusha is sick, okay. May the Lord heal her. That will be enough. But if Jerusha was my daughter, I don't only stop on saying, may the Lord heal her. I wake up late in the night, take her to hospital, allow her be injected. She will feel the pain, and as the parent, I will feel the pain. Parenting and leadership have similar norms. Parenting and leadership have similar hurdles. You're leading people who think that you're not supposed to be their leader. You're leading people who think that you really dull to be their leader. Probably, for example, you who are in corporate companies, you work in MTN, you entered as a clerk, you work in an NGO, probably you were a lower manager or you were a middle manager, and you have like 3 lower managers, level 1 managers over you, like field supervisors. They have the people they supervise, but one of the field supervisors thinks that you're really not supposed to be their leader. When they look at you, you did some course which is even expired from a certain university, which some students from Makere call colleges. And when you are put in that leadership position, people will think you're not really worth it. But guess what? You're a leader. Even churches, even you begin your own organizations, who begin their own churches. You are in your own church, and some people will think you are not really worth it to be their leader. Those things come. But as a parent, omwana wa jira mubafu, you don't the baby and the poo too. No. That's what leadership is. They are still your baby. And I noted the number of principles down there, and you read them. Number 3. We have 20 minutes. How many are we? Do we have there? Because here I'm seeing 20. Now, I mean minutes. 20 minutes. Yeah, the time is right. So, Law number 3, the law of inner strength. I tell people that the difference between motivation and teaching is one. In motivation, if a guy is an idiot and you motivate them, you will have a motivated idiot. He's still an idiot. You have changed nothing about him. But if a guy is an idiot and you begin to teach them, you've given them a chance to recalibrate their lives. As Mother Teresa used to say, to write down the new story of their lives. You understand what I'm saying? So, there are two of them are idiots, but one is being motivated, the other is being taught. So the one who is being motivated will just be motivated, nothing much will go beyond that. Probably after 2 days you will be excited, yeah. But after 2 days the motivation will die. But the other idiot whom you begin to teach will begin to pick up new principles, Before you know it, they will start to write a new story of their lives. The law of inner strength is the law of teaching. The law of inner strength is not a law of motivation. Why do I say so? The strength within and the strength without are different. But majorly, the strength within is the most important. The strength without will come, but will not stay long. But the strength within will stay. Why? If you're going through something and someone talks to you, and someone tells you, oh, this is like this. No, you better do this. You'll be energized. But remember, it will take you to stand up and do what they are saying. The calibration of your mind will not come because you're motivated. As a leader, things are going to happen to you, and motivation will do nothing until you gather out strength within you. Building on strength, especially from inside, that very strength that comes from within will require a lot of things to be done by you. It doesn't matter which position you find yourself, whether you're leading 2 people. By the way, even if you're leading nobody and you're leading only yourself, things will happen and you will need to recalibrate yourself. Things will happen and you will need to energize yourself. Things will happen and you will need to strengthen yourself. What do we mean? Number 1, the ability to draw upon one's resources, beliefs, and values to overcome challenges, persevere in the face of adversity, and stay true to oneself. That's the strength within. It's the ability and resources, beliefs, and values to overcome challenges. And it must be built from within. Challenges and adversity, and to stay true to yourself. You see, I hear some Christians say, tebasobola kulya nguzi, and I look at them and laugh. You've never bought a car. You are still footing. There are some words you should not speak. You should just go and keep yourself in prayer. A man can present to you a band of dollars and you've never even touched one. You've never even entered the forest bureau. You don't even know how a dollar smells. And you feel it smelling, or you see, you smell, and 100 things will go through your brain. What you can do with $1,000 if you take that bribe. $1,000 presented to you, just sign this. And you know very well that in the position where you are as a leader, when you sign it, no one will even know. Probably the budget is supposed to be for 100 million shillings. And they are telling you, let us make it 125. 15 million are yours. The other 2 members, for us, we can divide the 10. Or 10 million are yours, for us, we can divide the 15. And in your position, you really know that they will not detect that there was a shoot of 15 million or 25. And before you reach that place, when you were still earning 400, you were busy telling people, no, you can't take a bribe, I'm a born again Christian. And then the test comes, and your salary is 2 million shillings every month. And you are looking at these 10 million shillings that are coming in 1 hour. And every ounce of you is telling you to compromise. That's when you know that you're really not ready for that position. You need the strength from inside. You don't need a motivator. You need strength from inside to tell you that really this must not be done. You need the motivation that comes from within you. But you cannot call it or conjure it at that particular time if you've not been building it for the past 10 years. I can assure you, you will compromise. The ability to draw, the strength from within is not dependent on the external. The strength from within is not dependent on the external circumstances or validation from others. It comes from a deep-seated self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-belief. All those ingredients are from within. Let me read one last one. In the course of growing inner strength, it will involve self-reflection, self-care, personal growth, nurturing emotional stability, growth mindset, embracing challenges and opportunities alike, and learning from failures. You see, if you're 30 years, you've never bought a plot, you've never bought a car, and you think that 10 million, if you take it, they will help you buy a car, you have not looked in the future. You may not know as a leader a number of things you've frustrated in your life at that particular time. You even don't know whether among the 3 members that want you to sign, one of them is the top leader. And he wants to quit the organization. So what he's doing, just simply testing your integrity. You even don't know what will happen after you get that 10 millions. You see, the issue with compromising is one. I always tell people that we who don't take bribes in government, we are healthy. Those who steal millions, they are in London seeking for help. They are in Milan looking for treatment. Their heart is failing. Many people think corruption is just corruption in the government. When you take a bribe, when you corrupt yourself, everything on you become corrupt. Look at these men that are stealing millions of money in the government. They are the one in London hospitals looking for help. Their livers are failing, their brains is failing, their hearts are failing, everything on them is failing. We were not stealing. I don't remember the last time I went to hospital. I'm 32. Not because we are healthy. We are not even healthy. We even don't have a health schedule like those people. But corruption is not only corruption. Since we are not discussing spiritual matters, let me leave it at that. However, as a leader, you must know that many things will come to you that will call for your compromise. Many things are going to come to you, and they are going to call for your compromise. But you must start now before you enter a serious leadership position, so that at that time when they come, there is an essence from within that will help you to overcome. There is an essence from within. Don't think that because this many of the people that are watching church people, so it only works to church people. Even people that are outside church, the moment you compromise your integrity, many things will be compromised. The bad thing is that you will not know at that time when you're taking those 10 millions, but you realize after some time. So begin from that smaller place. Someone you are supposed to receive 23,000 as balance, and someone gives you 26. Take back the 3,000. It's not for them, it's for you. If you have no ability to to give him back the 3,000 and tell him, you know what, on per day 26,000, it's supposed to be 23. That's where it begins from. The law of inner strength. And everything, as I finish this point, everything you do, you must do it in gathering inner strength. Now, those are just moral issues. I've not talked about other outside issues that are not moral. Challenges. One of your members want to take your leadership position. That's not a moral position. That's not a moral issue. That's generally a barricade before you. But all begin with the moral issues. The rest are in the handout or the notes. Law number 4. Set your ambition is to lead beyond boundaries. Set your ambitions to lead beyond boundaries. Set your ambition to lead beyond boundaries. This is in 2 ways. Number 1, beyond boundaries as in the nature of your company or organization. And number 2, beyond boundaries as in beyond borders. If you are in business, you not only deal in business. Think about philanthropy. Think about schools. You may not leave a big legacy in business because every human being is looking at legacy. However, in business, your legacy may not stay for 100 years if you die, but in schools it will stay. So think about beyond boundaries as a leader. Don't be cocooned in one organization. In entrepreneurship, many people prefer to work for a government and they are 900,000, but they are sure that every month it's coming, and live like that for 40 years. Marry like a wife, have 3 kids, and they live forever happy after. But that's not really a good life. Because many times those people, after they retire, they are given 50 million shillings, they go home and they use the 50 million shillings to treat the back pain. They got whilst they were spent all their lives sitting behind that computer, tiring numbers, tiring documents for 40 years. So he has a saving of probably 27 million shillings. He has an old car which breaks every week, and a house of 3 bedrooms on 50 to 100. So that's an achievement. And probably the greatest gift he has is the 2 daughters and 1 son. But he's sure that his 900 has been coming for the 40 years. He has been working for that organization. And then he breaks down and he uses the 50 million shillings to treat the back pain, and after the money is done, he dies. That's a good life, but it's not really a better life. Many people prefer the life of, a few people prefer the life of an entrepreneur which has a lot of hurdles. Staying up late in the night, reading books you even don't know what they mean, because you heard someone in a conference speaking about it, and also pick it up. Why? You have an entrepreneur spirit. Beginning one business and failing, begin another and fails, beginning another and fails, like that until one probably gets on board and keeps going. But you know that after 15 years of toil, you dictate to spend at least 1 week in some beach in Nairobi or Mombasa or in another place in the Bahamas. But you know that it cannot come not until 15 years have passed. Like people who work for the government and their 1 million comes in, but their life are on the schedule being dictated by another person. They have no freedom. They even don't know the taste of freedom. Any man that will come into the place of leadership must understand that you must lead beyond borders. Looking outside the organization and also beyond the borders. If you are a philanthropist, think about also business, especially luxury business. Probably creating a beach somewhere or getting into hotels. Beyond boundaries, as in, don't look only at your locality. In Kampala alone, if you're in real estate, open your mind to East Africa. Kenya is doing well in real estate, by the way. Very well. In East Africa, including Congo, if you count it to be part of East Africa, and Southeast Sudan too. East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, adding Congo. I hear recently it has been added, as in not geographically but market. Southeast Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi. Kenya is doing very well in real estate. You have a good vision, but you feel you only want to put your company in China Mukaka, where you come from. You don't want to get out of Mitiana. You can't think like that and you'll be relevant in the future. A company will come and it will take you off board. I think all of you, probably a few of you have read the story of Facebook in 1990, 1994, 1995. Before Facebook, there was it has skipped my memory. There was an app that was working like Facebook, and that guy was told that Facebook is going to overtake you, and he bluffed.
Viber.
Was it Viper? No, there's something else. No, what? Not Imo. There was an app before Facebook. It was working like Facebook. I'm forgetting. It is Myro something. And they told the guy that Facebook is going to overtake you. You can verify the story on the internet. I'm forgetting the name of the app. By then it had more than 500 million people around the world. Facebook comes and in 1 year they ran out of business. That's how business run out of. That's how people run out of business, and that's how businesses fail. Go read a book called Good to Great. Actually, there are 3 books in the series. There is Good to Great, there is How the Mighty Fall, and there is I'm forgetting the third one. There are 3 books written by one author. Is it Jim Collins? Good to Great, How the Mighty Fall. I'm forgetting the third one. Good to Go, How the Mighty Fall. What is the third one? He wrote them in a series, but Good to Great majorly and How the Mighty Fall. They speak of how good companies become great, and how good companies fail to be great companies and stay under good, and finally great companies absorbs them. It's a nice story. It's a little complicated book. It has a lot of statistics, but it's good. How to make a leap from good to great. And every leader must know that. You must make a leap from good to great. And you cannot make that leap from good to great as a leader, not until you learn how to think beyond borders. How to think beyond borders. Leading beyond boundaries refers to a leader's ability to transcend traditional limitations and expand their influence and impact beyond their immediate sphere of control. Leading beyond borders, if you are a company, to meet at least minimum requirements of all stakeholders, including customers, shareholders, and the public, thereby serving the common good. You don't focus on the one a handful of stakeholders. Colgate, when they realized that people had gotten familiar to the design of Colgate that we were producing, they went ahead and produced another another tube of the same content but different colors and different designs, and they put it on the market. After a year, they produced another product, the same content inside but different design and different colors. Now there were 3. After 6 years, they had like 6 products of Colgate on the market. Today they are around 23, if I'm not mistaken. 23 products of Colgate. All nearly the same, but different designs, because they know some people are good with green, some people like white. So you go to buy Colgate, which has the same content, with another Colgate, which probably they put in green and they call it herbal. But different content. They are just thinking beyond borders, that people are fascinated by imagination. So since people are fascinated by imagination, they know that if we put this same product in another color, people will buy. If you want to be a leader and relevant, not only a leader, because you can be a leader but not relevant, but if you want to be a leader and relevant in future leadership, you must know and understand leading beyond borders and thinking beyond borders. It begins with your mind. How do you do that? First, a global mindset, develop a broad perspective, and understanding of the different cultures, markets, and perspectives. Embrace diversity and inclusivity, and seek out opportunities to collaborate and learn from individuals outside your immediate environment. Think outside your immediate environment. Traditional churches are failing. Now, since many of you are Christians, let me talk to you about this as we finish. We have 80 minutes. Traditional churches are failing, especially Pentecostal traditional churches are failing because of one thing. Now, let us not talk about the content. Well, we all know that the content is really, but let us talk about this. Time management. Many people are in working environment, and the only time they have is Saturday and Sunday at home. So what many of these traditional Pentecostal churches are doing, the service begins at 6 or 8, and it goes up to 3 p.m. So what many people do, especially educated people, they have stopped to go to churches simply because they cannot stay in church for that long. Yet on Monday they are needed at work. If we would honor these churches adjust their time and squeeze their programs, are still in 4 hours. If a church has one program, 4 hours is enough. Especially if you really have content. You're not in church as a business, but you're in church really because you're supposed to be there. And then what we do, we get on our pulpit and we start to quarrel. Why are lawyers are not getting born again? But it's not real demons. They prefer traditional churches simply because the service that begins at 6, by 10 it is done. And they go back home, they build their families. Meanwhile, Pentecostals are shouting. I'm a Pentecostal, don't get offended. I'm also a Pentecostal. But I'm speaking from the perspective of a leader. Something simple, just adjusting on the time. So we do not think beyond boundaries. We want to do things the way we want them, the way we feel we should do them, even though that way is not true. Think beyond borders. Let me read 2.01. We finish. Third last, develop cross-functional and cross-cultural leadership skills. Enhance your ability to effectively work with diverse teams and navigate different cultural norms and values. Skills like empathy, communication skills, adaptability, and relationship skills. Now, the skills I've mentioned here are all important to a leader. Extremely important to a leader. Communication skills, relationship skills, empathy, and adaptability. Things will happen and you will need to adapt. You will need to know how to relate with the people at different times and different time zones. You cannot go far as a leader if those skills are not embedded within your members. Lastly, encourage, empower, and create trust in teams you lead. And then be open to new ideas. Be open to new ideas. Lastly, the world moves on the wheels of ideas. The world moves on the wheels of ideas.
Without ideas, you won't go far. Doesn't matter how much gifted you are. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. And ideas come from very many places. Books, videos, audios, wherever you are. You can watch, you can listen, you can read. As you're reading a random book, an idea pops out. And you start building it, and building it, and building it, until you create a reality out of it. I don't promise you that it will be easy. No, it won't. If you want something easy, go work for the government. If you want a teacher, you can pray so hard that God blesses you and you join the government payroll. So that you know that your 600 is coming every month. Get a loan, build a 3-bedroom house. Get a loan, take your 3 kids through university. Then you work a little bit more extra years to pay the loan. Buy a smaller car that breaks every weekend. You're in the garage. And then you live your life at 65, you die of pressure. But that's not a real good life. You must decide 4 cardinal principles or laws that will make you relevant. And these principles, as according to our definition of the law, something which is almost always constant. They are almost always constant. Start to practice them. Start to read about them. Go make more research about them and make yourself relevant in the future leadership. Because the question is not whether you're going to be a leader. I have no doubt about that. You're going to be a leader. The only question is, are you going to be a relevant leader? Or you're going to be a leader that's going to be swallowed up among many? That even when we look with a telescope among the crowd, your name cannot be anywhere. So the question is, are you willing to do what it takes to be a leader? 1. 2, to be a relevant leader. 3, in future leadership. If the answer is yes, begin. This is episode 1. Season 1, just episode 1. Probably around after 3 months or 2, we will have another we have another lecture like this. So I encourage you, study them and create your notes and probably start to teach them wherever you are. The law of integrity, the law of cause and result, the law of inner strength, and the law of boundary. Thinking beyond borders, creating integrity within yourself, and then having the course, staying on course as you achieve results, and then inner strength, the strength that comes from within, and then number 4, thinking beyond borders. I want to take one question. Okay. Thank you so much for attending season 1, episode 1. Your names are going to be described on my stone. Some years when I'm speaking in TEDx or somewhere, that you are among the first season and the first episode. I want to thank you so much. I will be sending the notes and the video. The notes will be coming today night. The video will come probably on Monday. May God bless you. Shalom.